An exciting new era of the Pokemon TCG is upon us with the Scarlet and Violet EX base set. Today I'll be looking at the entire Scarlet and Violet EX base set for the first time, giving my first impressions as we look at the translated Japanese cards on Pokebeach.com. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more Pokemon TCG content, and check out my wonderful sponsors. East Coast Pokemon, a collaborative Pokemon YouTube channel with VGC, TCG content, and more. PoTownStore.com, the best place to get PTCGO and Pokemon TCG Live code cards. Use code CELIO for 5% off. PokemonCard.io for deck building, community, news, and more. And Dragon Shield sleeves. You can use the Dragon Shield affiliate links in the description down below to support my channel. We have a lot of cards to look at, so let's get started. Scrolling down to where the translations begin. Thank you, Pokebeach.com. So we've got a Cacnea. It has the ability Counterattack Needles. If this Pokemon's your active and is damaged, even if it's knocked out, put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. And it has Light Punch for 30, and then Cacturn evolves from that, and it has the same exact ability. That's a little disappointing. Would have hoped that it would have scaled up to something a little bit more usable. Remember, a lot of these cards will be bulk, as are most cards in Pokemon TCG sets. The really good ones are far and few in between for playability, and also remember that they tend to gradually give us more powerful cards. Typically, they don't like to give us really powerful cards of a brand new mechanic in the first set of the new block. So then we have Skiddo and Go-Goat, not really doing anything important here. We have 2 different small lives. We have the Dolliv, and then we have our Bulova. The ability Fill Oil. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, you may heal all damage from one of your Pokemon. Being on a stage 2, it probably won't be that good, but you know, these cards have the G regulation mark, so they'll be in standard format for years. So all of these cards with any sort of potential have plenty of time to find the format for them to be playable in. I feel like the new card layout and texture really shows on the fire cards. So here we have a Torkoal, pretty much just bulk, but a nice little Torkoal card. We then have Charcadet, 2 different Charcadets, and then Arma Rouge. So Arma Rouge has the Fire Alarm ability. As often as you like during your turn, you may move a fire energy attached to one of your benched Pokemon to your active Pokemon. So we'll have to see if that comes into play, if there's fire energy acceleration going on. We already have Magma Basin, which is a stadium in standard format currently. But a very cool looking card. And, well, that ability is only as good as the other cards surrounding it, really. We then have Magikarp with 30 HP, which evolves into a gigantic 300 HP Gyarados EX. It is a terastallized water type, and we will see that the terastal effect is still, this Pokemon doesn't take any damage from attacks while on the bench. So I know a lot of people were saying that the Arcanine terastal thing was probably just a one-off, and they weren't all going to be, this Pokemon can't take damage from the bench, but it looks like that is going to be the effect of terastallization for now, which is quite disappointing. And if you guys haven't watched my video on how I would have designed terastallization, I definitely suggest going and checking that out. I'll leave a link somewhere for that. But this Gyarados EX with 300 HP, that is a lot of HP. It has the attack Waterfall for 100 damage for 3 energy. And then for 5 energy, you can do Tyrannical Tail, 180 damage plus. If your opponent's active Pokemon already has any damage on it, this attack does 180 more damage. So that's actually so much damage. You're doing 360. That's actually pretty crazy, but you do need 5 energy on the Pokemon. So depending on how easy that is to do, we'll see if this attack is justifiable to be using as a main attack in your deck. But 300 HP is a lot of HP, and it does potentially 360 damage, which is pretty insane. We have Buizel and Floatzel. Not doing anything crazy here, just bulk cards. Love to see some Diamond and Pearl Pokemon though. Bruxish, search your deck for up to 3 basic energy, put them into your hand, nothing crazy. We have Wiglets, and then we have Wugtrio. Just a little coin flip discarding attack, nothing crazy, but we do get to see the first Wugtrio and Wiglet Pokemon cards ever, which is pretty cool. Dondozo, it does 50 damage for each Tatsugiri in your discard pile for 2 colorless. Okay, so 160 HP for 2 colorless does 50 for each Tatsugiri in your discard pile. So you could just get 4 Tatsugiri into your discard pile pretty quickly and then start swinging 200 a turn with this Dondozo. So that's actually pretty good. I think that has some potential. And then the Tatsugiri here, search your deck for up to 2 basic water energy and attach them to one of your basic Pokemon. So that's not bad at all, especially if you have to play 4 of it in your deck already just to go with your Dondozo. So I think that the Dondozo probably has some potential because in the past, attacks like this would be on like a Gyarados and you'd have to have Magikarps in your discard pile, but you also need a Magikarp on your bench to evolve into your next Gyarados, and it would make it pretty hard to do. But with this attack, Dondozo doesn't have to evolve, it's a basic, so you can have all 4 of your Dondozo on the board and then all 4 of your Tatsugiri in the discard pile, and that seems like it would work just fine. So yeah, this might have some this might have some potential. We have 2 different Wattrolls, and then we have Kilowattroll, which just does 50 to one of your opponent's Pokemon, and Thunder Blast 140, discard a Lightning. So nothing too good there. We have Ralts, Kirlia, and Gardevoir EX, which were previously revealed, but I don't believe I covered them on the channel in a review type fashion. So we'll just look at this Gardevoir EX real quick. 310 HP. As often as you like during your turn, you may attach a basic Psychic energy from your discard pile to one of your Psychic Pokemon. If you do, put 2 damage counters on that Pokemon. And you can't use this if the 2 damage counters would knock out that Pokemon. And then it's Attack, Miracle Force 190, heal special conditions on this Pokemon. The ability is super duper strong. The attack is whatever, but it's a 310 HP Pokemon with an insane energy accelerating ability. And we already have the good Kirlia with the discard draw 2 from Silver Tempest. And we also have a Gardevoir with discard draw 2, and we also have another Gardevoir that accelerates energy. So we also have a Gallade that searches for supporters. So the whole Gardevoir evolution line is pretty poised to be a very good evolution line in the upcoming Sword and Shield, the upcoming Scarlet and Violet era. We have Drifloom and Drifblim. Drifblim has spread curses for 3 psychic, put 8 damage on your opponent's Pokemon any way you like. Not very good for such a steep cost, but that's a beautiful art of Drifblim. The Dene with energy bite. Then we've got Fido and another Fido, and Doxbun. The ability Well-Baked Body, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's fire Pokemon, and this can't be burned, so it could be a nice little wall against mono fire decks, but we'll have to wait until one of those pop up. We then have Flittle and Espathra. Espathra has the Insight, the defending Pokemon can't retreat next turn, and Psychic 30 plus 50 for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Not that great. We then have Meditite and Medicham, looking like bulk pretty much. We've got Riolu and Lucario. Lucario has the Vengeful Knuckles. If any of your fighting Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon last turn, this does 120 more. Not very good because we have to evolve. Actually, it could be good because I think there's a Lucario EX in this set, right? So this could be an okay single prize option, I suppose. So yeah, we won't rate this off as complete bulk. We've got the Crocodile line. Crocodile has Voracious Bite. 50 damage, flip a coin until you get tails for each heads, discard an energy attached to your opponent's Pokemon. And then Earthquake 180, but it does 30 to all of your Pokemon. I mean, like I said at the beginning of the video, these are G regulation, and we're just rotating out D in April. So next year in 2024, E will rotate out. In 2025, F will rotate out. And then we have all the way until 2026 for these cards to, you know, settle into the standard format for whatever power level they're going for to settle into the format in the next 3 years or so. So it's hard to evaluate these cards and how their entire life in standard format will be. But right now, this looks like bulk. Halucha, when you play it from your hand to your bench, you can choose 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon and put 1 damage counter on each of them. This will most likely see play at some point. It's really nice to put a damage counter on 2 Pokemon just for playing down a basic Pokemon. We have Silcobra and Sandaconda. The Violent Dust Cloud attack is interesting. You discard 2 energy from Sandaconda, and your opponent shuffles their active Pokemon and all cards attached to it into their deck. So that's pretty cool. We've got Cloth, which doesn't do anything crazy. Great Tusk EX. So the Paradox Pokemon Great Tusk. It seems like these Pokemon are going to have high HP, but not have the most impressive attacks. So it has Bedrock Breaker, 40 damage, discard a Stadium for 1 fighting, and then Giganto Tusk 250 for 3, but it also does 50 damage to itself. It's not awful, and again, I don't think a lot of these cards will really hold a candle to the VMAX and V-Star era, and then when we start losing some of the Sword and Shield cards, then these cards will start looking a little bit better. In a new lens, you know, maybe a year down the line, 2 years down the line. We have Miradon EX, which is a basic Pokemon. This was already revealed, but we'll look at it real quick. The ability Dinocry. Once a turn, you can attach up to 2 basic fighting energies from your discard to your basic fighting Pokemon in any way you like, and then your turn ends. It also has its own attack that does 220, and then next turn this Pokemon can't attack. So a strong enough attack with a pretty typical downside that we see a lot of the time, and a really strong ability, especially if you're going first and you can't attack anyway, so you just accelerate some energies to one of your fighting Pokemon and you start getting your board set up. So I think this can be a really strong card, maybe immediately, but if not, it'll be a strong card at some point. And then we have some cards missing here, so I'm going to go ahead and refresh Pokebeach because they're currently uploading translations, and I'll see you guys in a second. Okay, continuing on with Grimer and Muck. Muck has the Poison Sacs ability. The special condition Poison is not removed when your opponent's Pokemon evolve or devolve. Interesting. Probably nothing crazy though. So Viper poisons, and then if your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, it does 120 more. So it can do 180 with Venoshock if your opponent's active is poisoned. Not bad at all. As long as you have some good poison activators like the Garbodor that's currently in standard format that can poison the opponent's Pokemon. If there's a Stadium in play, as long as you have things like that, maybe this Muck can be okay, but probably just a little bit too gimmicky. We then have Croagunk and Toxicroak EX, not Croagunk EX. So yeah, Croagunk and Toxicroak EX. Toxicroak EX has the nasty plot. Search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand. Not really what you want to do after you evolve into a multi-prize Pokemon. And then Toxic Ripper, it does 120 damage. Your opponent's active is now poisoned, and it takes 6 damage counters instead of 1 between turns. So essentially this is doing 180 off the bat, and then if they leave that Pokemon into the active, that attack essentially did 240, which is actually really good. If this attack just said dark, colorless, 240 damage, I'd say, okay, this thing's a beat stick. But it's doing that with poison, so we'll have to see, you know, do we have things that can lock Pokemon in the active, like make their retreat cost higher? We have that Muck to help with poison, so if the opponent evolves, they don't remove the poison. But this looks pretty mid for now. We have Pawniard, Bisharp, and King's Gambit. Okay, we'll come back to these. I'm going to scroll past these and go on to the next part, the next chunk of cards that have been translated already. So we have Nest Ball, which is a reprint. Search your deck for a basic and put it onto your bench. Quick Ball will be rotating in April, so Nest Ball is a good replacement. Rock Chestplate, the fighting Pokemon this card's attached to, takes 30 less from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. This would have been really nice for Great Tusk if it said from Pokemon, or from attacks, just in general, but it's from your opponent's Pokemon's attacks, but still pretty neat. Defiant Band, if you have more prize cards remaining than your opponent, the attacks of the Pokemon this card is attached to do 30 more to your opponent's active Pokemon. So this isn't saying it does plus 30 to EX or Rulebox or whatever. It just does plus 30 no matter what, but at the cost of you need to be behind on prize cards. We have Jacques. Search your deck for up to 2 evolution cards, reveal them and put them into your hand. Probably too slow to be played. Professor's Research, just a reprint, discard, draw 7. Penny is interesting. Penny's really interesting. Supporter card, return one of your basic Pokemon in play and all cards attached to it to your hand. So this can be really good if you have some bulky basic Pokemon like the Great Tusk EX that we saw. It takes a hit, you just Penny it back up and put it back down. So Penny is a supporter card I would assume we'll see play at some point. And then we have Beach Court. The retreat cost of each player's basic Pokemon is colorless less. This is essentially just Sky Arrow Bridge. They should have just reprinted Sky Arrow Bridge. That would have been cool. But Beach Court makes sense for Scarlet and Violet. Moving on, I will remember to come back to this section later after I refresh the page to get the translations for those cards. We have Pineco that doesn't matter. Sorry, Pineco. Heracross that also doesn't matter. Scatterbug, which can be evolved on your first turn and on the turn it comes into play, and then Spupa, which can be evolved on your first turn, and then they evolve into Vivillon, which does 50 for grass. Flip a coin of heads. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now affected by one special condition of your choosing, so that's pretty cool. These Pokemon can evolve all the way up into Vivillon, which doesn't do much. We have Tarantula and another Tarantula, and then of course they evolve into Spidops EX, going from 60 HP to 260 HP. Nice little jump of HP there. Spidops, the trapped territory. Your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost is 1 colorless more. That's really cool. And then Wire Hang 90 plus. This attack does 30 more for each energy in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. So this could be really good actually. Just like a 4/4 line of Spidops, and your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost is +4 if you have all 4 Spidops in play. So you're doing 120, 90, 210 plus whatever retreat cost they already have. So maybe like 270. Yeah, damage output's a little low. I think I would have liked this to be maybe 40 more damage. I think 40 more damage might have been nice. But it's pretty cool. You know, again, this is G regulation mark. This is going to be in the game for a very long time. So we'll have to see, you know, down the line, this might be more impressive when other cards rotate out. Toad's School, put them to sleep. Toad's Cruel. Does 30 damage. You can choose an energy attached to your opponent's active and move it to one of their benched Pokemon. Interesting. We have Rabombi that does that now, and that's been used in control decks, so this could also be used in control decks. We've got Capsicid and Skovillon. Skovillon has... I wonder if this is actually the attack name, because sometimes Pokebeach will put like some memes in here with the translations, but as of now it's called Super Hot Yeehaw. 90 plus damage. If this has any fire energy attached, it does 90 more. So 180, and you have to have grass, fire, colorless on a stage 1 Pokemon that's going to get knocked out next turn. I like the flavor of it. Like, it's a grass and fire Pokemon, so if you have a fire energy, it does more damage, but it's not good. We have Growlithe and Arcanine. We've already seen these. Arcanine EX, Terrastalized Fire type. Can't take damage from attacks while on the bench because it's Terrastalized, because that makes sense. And then Raging Claws, 30 plus damage, 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So it's beefy, 280 HP, can do a lot of damage with Raging Claws. And Bright Flame, 250, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Pretty simple, Beat Stick EX Pokemon, should be good at some point. High HP, high damage output, seems good. We've got Houndour and Hound Doom. I really like how the fire type Pokemon make this new art style, the new card borders, everything. It looks really nice on the fire type Pokemon. I also love when they make the Pokemon look like they're in the video game, like they do right here with the new style Poke Center Pokemart combo in the background, so that's really cool. Slowpoke and Slowbro. Slowbro has the strange behavior. As often as you like, you may move a damage counter from one of your Pokemon to this Pokemon. So that's nice if you have like something like a max potion, like some kind of healing card that just targets a single Pokemon, and you want to move it all into one Pokemon. The bad part is Slowbro only has 100 HP, so it's not really a great target for moving damage to. Launcher, Clawitzer, Citadel, and Cetitan. Oh, I love Cetitan in the video game, but they gave it a bad card. It does 200 damage, but it does 20 less for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So, like, if it's a clean Cetitan, 200 damage for 3 energy is fine. But then, like, it has 180 HP, so the only good thing... So, like, the good thing about the card is high HP, high damage output. But then the high HP doesn't even matter if you get hit and then your attack does no damage. So, looks like bulk to me. We've got Magnemite, Magneton, Magnezone EX. Magnezone EX, 330 HP Chonker, Stage 2 EX Pokemon. Energy Crush, 50X for a Lightning. It does 50 damage for each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon. So a nice little 1 energy attack. It is dependent on your opponent's Pokemon's energy, but it is only its like first attack for 1 energy. Then Pulse Launcher, 2 lightning energy to do 220 damage, and this Pokemon does 30 damage to itself. So if your opponent doesn't have a lot of energy on the board, you could do Pulse Launcher, 220 damage, 30 damage to itself. Seems pretty good, nothing crazy. It's not like mind-blowing in my opinion. We got Pachirisu, which can't be paralyzed, and it does 10 plus 20 more for each of your benched lightning Pokemon not affected by weakness. That card's awful. Rotom, Junk Hunt. Look at that, Junk Hunt. Search your discard pile for an item card, put it into your hand. Okay, little control strategy, baby. It also has Thunder Shock. 20, flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active is now paralyzed. We've got Toxel and Toxtricity. Tear off, choose 2 cards from your opponent's hand without looking. Look at the other cards, then your opponent shuffles them into their deck. So they shuffle the first 2 cards, right? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this said look at the other cards. I'm sorry. Yeah, look at the cards, then your opponent shuffles them into your deck. I was confused, but I did that to myself. Okay, so yeah, this is just weird and not good. We've got Pawmi and Pawmo and Pawmot. Pawmot has the charge up ability. Once a turn, you may search your deck for a basic lightning and attach it to this Pokemon. Okay, stage 2 Pokemon, 130 HP, very, very low HP, but it does charge itself up with charge up and then do 230 damage, and then you discard all energy, but it doesn't matter that you discarded all the energy because it's going to get knocked out next turn. Interesting. Low HP, stage 2. If this was a stage 1 Pokemon, I'd be intrigued, but it's not, so I'm not. Miradon EX. This one we already knew about, but we'll look at it. It's very, very good. Once a turn, you can search your deck for 2 basic lightning Pokemon and put them onto your bench, and then it has the Photon Blaster that does 220 and can't attack next turn. This is ridiculous. It'll make setting up lightning type decks like way faster than any other type, essentially. Drowsy, your opponent chooses one of their bench Pokemon, bring it up, the new active is now asleep. Pendulum Manipulation, flip a coin. If heads, choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon and use it as this attack. Okay, that not good, just meme stuff there. Okay, we've got Shuppet and Banat EX. Banat EX looks awesome. Shuppet does 10 And flip a coin if heads, the opponent can't play item cards next turn. So that's really good. I want to have on a basic Pokemon. And then, okay. So this is good. This is good. The Banna EX Eternal Darkness 30 and your opponent can't play items next turn. And then Poltergeist, look at your opponent's hand. It does 60 for each trainer card. So this locks items specifically, but this is generalized to trainers. So I like that. Yeah, this is cool. I like this card a lot. And it even comes with a basic Pokemon that has a chance at item locking on turn 1. Very cool. Flabebe, Floette, Florges, ability Bloom Guard, and as long as this Pokemon's in play, your Pokemon have no weakness. It's a stage 2 Pokemon, but it does remove weakness, which is cool. It has an attack 120 and damage done by the defending Pokemon is reduced by 30 next turn, so you'll probably never be attacking with this. I mean, it's a long shot to even put a stage 2 in your deck just to remove weaknesses, but it's possible. Klefki, ability Prank Lock. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, each player's basic Pokemon in play have no abilities. Well, that's very good. That can slow down games. I like that. This reminds me a little bit of Spirit Tomb. If only they gave this some sort of setup or consistency sort of attack, like draw cards or search for evolutions or something. I should be more specific. It reminds me of Spiritomb from Arceus, if they gave it a setup attack. But this is cool. Each player's basic have no abilities. I like that. I like this. This could be good for slowing down the game. Because this is a Pokemon that you can't win the game by just leaving it in the active the whole game, but you can put it out there while you set up your board. But each player's basics have no abilities, so you're not going to get to use abilities either. Pretty cool. Let's see. So we have Greavard. Wait, I'm confused. This one's called Greavard and this one's called Houndstone, but they're both the same Pokemon. I think Greavard is the stage 1 and Houndstone is the first one. I don't know, but let's read them. So look at your opponent's hand, choose a supporter you find there, put it at the bottom of the deck, mid, but those are just the basic. And then stage 1 is 140 HP, Grave Visit, 80, and it does 10 more for each psychic energy card in your discard pile. That is not good. We have Mankey, Primate, and Annihilate. Annihilate has Enraged Fist, 70 for each prize card taken by your opponent, but it's a stage 2. The card, this Pokemon looks absolutely nuts. So cool, but low HP. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard to say how these cards will be in the future, but coming into the current format, I don't think these stage 2 Pokemon designs really stand too much of a chance because they're just too slow to get into play, and they take up too much deck space. Okay, interesting gimmicky Spiritomb. We have Maschiff and Mabastiff. Once during your turn, you may switch your opponent's active with one of their benched Pokemon. So your opponent chooses which Pokemon to bring up, but you force them to switch their active, essentially. Interesting. We've seen Pokemon with this kind of ability be used in the past, but they were strong for other reasons than the ability. Thinking like Infernape E4 level X. Bombardier, search your deck for 3 Pokemon tools. Okay, bad. Beretris, bad. Iron Treads EX. I still call this Iron Tusk EX. I don't get any of the Paradox Pokemon's names correctly. Triple Laser, 30 to 3 of your opponent's Pokemon. Seems pretty bad. And then Cybernetic Wheels, 160 and Switch. So we could do Iron Treads with Klefki, but we have to get 4 energy onto the Iron Treads first. This seems bad. Chansey and Blissey. Once during your turn, heal all special conditions from your active. Not good. Skovit. Once a turn, you may shuffle your hand and return... Okay, hang on. Once a turn, you can shuffle your hand and return the cards to the bottom of your deck without looking at them. Then draw a card. Why does it say without looking at them? What? Like, shuffle your deck. Okay, so shuffle your hand and put it at the bottom of your deck and then draw a card. So you have to shuffle your entire hand away, then draw a card. But if you have a 0-card hand, you just get to draw a card, I presume. The way this is worded is so weird. I mean, if you have other cards in your hand, I'm sorry, other cards on your board, like Bibarel from Brilliant Stars, that says draw until you have 5 once a turn. This Skovit would be good with that, because then if you have like an 8-card hand, you can shuffle it, put it at the bottom, draw a card, maybe play that card, or maybe don't play that card, but then draw 4 more with Greedent. Not Greedent, Bibarel. Yeah, I don't know. Very intriguing to say the least. And the Greedent doesn't really do much. Indeedy, search your deck for a Pokemon, for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon in play, and play it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. Now, see, this is the attack that Klefki needed. That's the attack that Klefki needed for Klefki to be, like, actually changing the game and the way we play it in a good way, I think. Interesting, though. Interesting. They could have given it a free attack. Like, just do anything you can to get evolution Pokemon into play and, like, good enough to play. Tandemouse and Mousehold. This attack does 70 for each of your Mousehold in play. Yeah, that's not good. Maxes out at 210 and you have a 70 HP stage 1 Pokemon. And the basics are 30 and 40 HP. They can be picked off by so many things. Not good. Search your deck for 2 basics, put them on your bench, call for family. Yeah, I don't foresee these kind of call for family attacks being good. Like they used to be. So for now, this just looks like bulk. Okay, we've got Electricity Generator. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 basic lightning cards and attach them to one of your bench lightning Pokemon. This has the potential to be broken. Like this could be very, very good. And then an Ultra Ball reprint. Let's give the page a little refresh, see if these spots are filled in yet. Okay. We've got Picnic Basket. Heal 30 damage from all Pokemon in play, both yours and your opponent's. Interesting. I mean, there have been cards like Team Yell's Towel that have been played, which heals both active for 50. So, like, if you're just a stall deck or a tanking deck and you don't care about healing your opponent's Pokemon, then it's fine to use this. Rare Candy, same old Rare Candy text ever since the errata. Can't use it on your first turn or the first turn a Pokemon was put into play. That, I understand they want to keep it that way, and it makes sense to avoid broken stage 2 interactions that aren't supposed to come into the first play of game, but we're also just at a point where it's hard to make stage 2s playable as things other than rulebox Pokemon or support Pokemon. Rocky Helmet reprint. When the Pokemon this card is attached to its damage, put 2 damage on the attacking Pokemon. Let's see. Cade. I don't know how to pronounce it. But you shuffle your hand into your deck, draw 8 cards, and it ends your turn. I'd rather play Professor's Research. Oh, look, Professor's Research. Arvin, search your deck for an item card and a Pokemon tool and put them into your hand. I think I'd rather play Professor's Research. Mimosa, choose up to 5 Pokemon cards from your discard pile, reveal them and shuffle them into your deck, then draw 3. I think this is playable. Like, you're getting Pokemon back and then you get to draw cards. That's not bad. This is at least, like, not bad. Mesazoa City. Once during each player's turn, that player may flip a coin. If heads, they search their deck for a Pokemon card, reveal it, and put it into their hand. Okay. Okay. That's pretty cool. I'll take it. Pretty cool. Okay, so now we have some starter deck cards to look through. Or no, we don't. Okay, it's going to be another refresh angle here. We can continue with those dark Pokemon and colorless Pokemon. So we have King Gambit, evolves from Bisharp. The ability Generalship, as long as this Pokemon is in play, the attacks of your basic Pokemon do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Could be good at some point. Not really ringing any bells for playability right off the bat, though, being a stage 2. We have Varoom and Revaroom. Revaroom is a stage 1. You must discard an energy from your hand, and then once during your turn, you may draw until you have 6 in your hand. Well, that's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, we'll take that. Discard an energy, draw until you have 6. I like it. Good job, Reveroom. You are probably playable. Bulk Zangoose, Bulk Birds, Bulk Lechonk, Oinkalone EX, Fragrance Fury, 10 plus 30 more for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Okay, so we have a first attack that caps out at 160, unless they reprinted Skyfield Stadium and I don't know about it. And then Heavy Stamp, 210 and flip a coin. Okay, this is just a bulk EX. This is the bulkiest of bulk EXs. Oh, hey, Team Star Grunt. Put an energy attached to your opponent's active on top of their deck. Kind of like Team Flare Grunt or Team Yell Grunt. They just keep making these cards like horizontal or worse. Like Team Flare Grunt was the best because it discarded it. Team Yell Grunt returned it to the opponent's hand. Now we have Team Star Grunt, which puts it on top of their deck. I mean, it gives them like not a new card into their hand, so I guess this is better than Yell Grunt but worse than Flare Grunt. Okay, so Pokebeach doesn't have the rest of the starter deck translations up. We've already seen the Mimikyu EX, the Ampharos EX, which the Ampharos EX might be good just because we have the Evolving Skies Flaffy that accelerates energies. But we can see here that I don't even remember this Pokemon's name. This one just has an attack that does 50 and an attack that does 190. It looks like it does 30 to itself. And then we also have Meowskarada. It does 40. We don't know what its extra thing is, and then 130. So these look like they're theme deck bulk cards. Luckily, we do have the translation for the only one of the starters with an ability, which is the one that evolves from Quaxley, over on Tuan Lei's Twitter. So Tuan Lei translated this one over on Twitter. Quavo. I just nickname all my Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet, so I never know their actual names. It has the ability Energy Carnival. Once during your turn, you may attach a basic energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon in play. Seems really good in a nutshell, but it's on a stage 2 Pokemon that does nothing else, so it's probably actually really bad. Okay, and so we're going to end it there. There's a few that haven't been uploaded to Pokebeach.com, but I think all of the important ones were already translated and we've looked at them tonight. And also I want to go to bed, but I also want to upload this video. So instead of waiting for a few more bulk cards, I'm going to take the chance that they aren't bulk, but I'm pretty sure they are. And we're going to end the video here so I can edit it all together and then go to sleep. Overall thoughts though, overall first impressions, the set seems kind of mid, but most base sets are. I don't know why, but they don't like showing off the flashy stuff in the initial set of a new block of cards. Just look back at Ruby and Sapphire. The first time EXs came out, all of the EXs were awful. So we're already doing better than that. We've got Gardevoir EX, which is good, Bennett EX, which is interesting, Ampharos EX, which at least has a good pre-evolution, Miradon and Miradon EX, they're both good. Arcanine EX and Gyarados EX at least do a lot of damage and have high HP. So we have some new stuff to work with, also some new trainer cards. But let me know what you all think in the comments down below, and also join my Discord. People are already in there discussing the new cards in the Discord, so if you need a place to join that's kind of like a forum or discussion, hop on in. We'll be happy to have you. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.